Here's Harris, and Clark's going to foul. Harris called a transition take foul. They will, and now Clark gets a T in addition. That is an unbelievably costly sequence from Caitlin Clark. Turns it over.
Just loses the handle. Alyssa Thomas able to come up with it, which you can't do. That's a big difference from college to the pros. There's no transition take in college. There is here in the W.
Something is seriously wrong with WNBA officiating. Caitlin Clark isn't just dealing with tough defense. She's battling referees who seem determined to make her life harder. Blatant no calls, ridiculous technical fouls, and questionable ejections have sparked outrage across the league.
Prime example, what really made me start thinking about this was the DJ Currington situation. They didn't call nothing on that for her poking Caitlin Clark in the eye, and that really had me thinking, like, damn, how many times did they actually, drop the ball and didn't call stuff against Caitlin?
But here's the real question. Is this just rookie treatment, or is there something deeper at play? Clark is the biggest star the WNBA has ever seen. Yet game after game, she faces officiating decisions that make zero sense.
When you have the face of your league getting nearly 20% of all flagrant fouls called against her, that is an issue. And that's not just an issue that the players have to work out. That is from top down. That goes to the commissioner level. Like, that is the level that needs to control these kinds of things. Because there was also a stat that came out a few weeks ago that said Caitlin Clark received 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls this season, and 80% of those flagrant fouls were committed by the Chicago Sky against Caitlin Clark.
From brutal body checks ignored by refs to technical fouls for simply showing emotion, the pattern is impossible to ignore. And when you see what happened in her matchup against the Connecticut Sun, you'll realize this is beyond just bad officiating. This feels personal. For months, fans have been screaming about unfair officiating against Caitlin Clark.
You need to protect your superstars, and the WNBA has not done well this entire season of protecting their one superstar who brought in more eyeballs than anyone else has ever done in the league. She should have a special whistle. Calls like this should be made, should be reviewed. People should know right off the bat, it shouldn't be the first round of the playoffs that players think that they can still do this kind of thing to Caitlin Clark.
But on September 11th, everything changed. The Indiana Fever were battling the Las Vegas Aces in what should have been a showcase of Clark's talent. Instead, it became a masterclass in how to send a message without ever saying a word. Clark was driving to the basket when she was met with heavy contact from two Aces defenders. The force sent her tumbling to the ground. The crowd gasped. The replay showed clear body contact, yet silence from the refs. No whistle, no foul, nothing. But here's where it gets worse. Just minutes later, on the other end of the court, Las Vegas's star guard, Kelsey Plum, drove into the lane, absorbed similar contact, and immediately got the call. The inconsistency was glaring, and fans erupted in frustration. Was this just one bad call? Maybe. But let's rewind to another jaw-dropping moment that had people questioning whether the WNBA was even trying to hide its bias anymore. June 9th, the Indiana Fever against the Washington Mystics. Caitlin Clark is running the floor when Stephanie Dolson steps into her path and delivers a shoulder check that nearly sends her flying into the bench. A hit so blatant that even the opposing team's fans were left in shock.
Clark turns on the Jets, punt to the rim, and blocked. Oh, Dolson got back. Clark thought there was a foul.
Surely the refs couldn't ignore this one, right? Wrong. No whistle, no review. Just play on as if it never happened.
Well, Clark got a pretty good case.
The league's handling of physical play against Clark is one thing, but when you start comparing how she's officiated versus other players, the problem becomes undeniable. Let's look at what happened to Diana Taurasi earlier this season. After a hard foul in the paint, Taurasi threw her hands up in frustration and barked at the ref. Technical foul immediately.
30-piece on the season for Copper. Diana wanted the foul call, didn't get it.
And she wants a technical, and
yeah, she
Nate's
does.
trying to calm her down. But she felt that she was grabbed going around that screen. There's no way that she could get the ball as she was grabbed.
Yeah, it's tough to catch the basketball when you're in the middle of a bear hug.
Yet when Caitlin Clark took an elbow to the face against the Connecticut Sun and reacted by hitting the padding of the hoop, the refs wasted no time slapping her with a technical as well. Her crime? Expressing frustration, just like every other player in the league.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
But for some reason, Clark's emotions are treated differently. The inconsistency doesn't stop there. In an early season matchup against the New York Liberty, Clark was once again on the receiving end of an unnecessary excessive hit. While trying to fight through a screen, she was met with a hard body check from Breanna Stewart, sending her stumbling. The replay clearly showed the force of the impact, yet the refs stayed silent. But later in the game, Stewart received minimal contact on the other end and immediately drew a foul. Clark's frustration was obvious, but it wasn't just her, it was everyone watching. Fans, analysts, and even opposing players couldn't ignore what was happening. It felt like the refs were setting a dangerous precedent. If you're going to play physical against Caitlin Clark, you can get away with almost anything. That brings us to the most controversial moment yet. A matchup against the Seattle Storm, where things took a turn that had everyone questioning what was really going on. Clark had been dealing with aggressive defense all game, but no play was more shocking than when Skylar Diggins-Smith delivered a blatant shove during a timeout. Clark wasn't even engaged in the play. She was simply walking toward her bench when Diggins-Smith stepped up behind her and pushed her out of the way. The arena gasped, expecting an immediate whistle. But what did the referees do? Absolutely nothing. No foul, no warning, no explanation. Social media erupted. Fans called it a clear act of aggression, and yet somehow it was ignored. It became a moment that symbolized everything wrong with how Clark was being treated in the WNBA. This isn't just about missed calls, it's about the way these moments affect the game itself. When officials allow this kind of treatment to go unchecked, it encourages more of it. The message to other players is clear. You can go after Clark, and the refs won't step in.
Seconds left. Goes around to Gumake. Drives baseline. And shot rejected by Izzy McMagor. Second opportunity is up and in by Nalissa Smith. Very entertaining first half about Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 44.
But what happens when this kind of officiating isn't just impacting Clark individually, it's affecting the entire Indiana Fever team? The Fever have been in multiple close games this season, games where just a few key calls could have changed the outcome. But when those calls never come, it puts the team at an unfair disadvantage. And it's not just about wins and losses. This kind of officiating impacts the rhythm of the game, the morale of the team, and even the way Clark herself has to approach each matchup. Consider what happened against the Dallas Wings. Clark was heating up in the fourth quarter, knocking down deep threes and setting up her teammates with pinpoint passes. Then, as she fought through a screen, she was blatantly grabbed and pulled back, the kind of foul that gets called every single time in the NBA. But in this game, play on. No whistle. Moments like these are stacking up, and fans are taking notice. ESPN analysts have pointed out the inconsistency in how Clark is being officiated compared to other stars.
That's not basketball. Angel Reese getting tangled up? Yeah. Angel Reese trying to block her out and she hip checks her to the ground? Yes, that's basketball. That's bull jive. That's bush league. Yeah. Now, you woman enough to check the woman and she ain't got the ball, but you ain't woman enough to answer questions?
Former players have even weighed in, with some defending the physical play as just part of the game.
First of all, what did you expect was going to happen to her? Number one, you're playing at the highest level. You're playing in the WNBA. You're coming from college and you're going to the pro ranks, right? What did she expect was going to happen? Why are people so shocked, right? You're playing against grown women. The same thing happened to us as rookies, right? Going against MJ. They're out there trying to embarrass you.
While others argue that the WNBA is failing to protect its biggest star.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty, girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world. Oh, you are. Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bring into the WNBA. Don't be petty like dudes. Listen, what she's accomplished, give her flowers. Stop being petty, all you women out there. She got y'all ass charters. She bringing all y'all this money to the table, but y'all being petty like dudes. LeBron, you are 100% right. Y'all girls, stop being petty. Caitlin Clark, thank you for bringing all that money and shine to the WNBA.
So the real question remains, is this just a case of Clark being a rookie and needing to earn her calls? Or is the WNBA sending a message? Because if it's the latter, what exactly is that message supposed to be? The more this continues, the more it fuels the conversation about fairness in the league. And if the WNBA isn't careful, this could turn into something much bigger than just a few missed calls. It could become a full-blown controversy that forces the league to make some serious changes. One thing is clear, Caitlin Clark isn't going to back down. She has already proven that she can take the hits, keep her composure, and still dominate. But the real question is, how much longer can the WNBA ignore what's happening before they are forced to address it? And when that moment comes, will the league admit there's a problem, or will they continue to pretend this is just business as usual?